Hey, welcome to week 2 of Study with Kate. Before we talk about the scriptures we read this week, let's recap from last week. So last week we talked about the I Am, and we learned that that is one of God's names, Yahweh, and it means the God who is. So He was, He is, He always will be. And that was the name that God gave Moses from the burning bush in Exodus, where God tells Moses, I want to use you to bring my people out of Egypt. And Moses says to God, who am I that you would ask me to do this great thing? And God says, but I will be with you. And so we learned that it's not about us. It's not about what we can accomplish, but we serve a great and mighty God who can do mighty things, and He does those through us. We don't have to try and do it ourselves. And so we had to spend a week in this identity study looking at who God is and getting our eyes fixed on Him and seeing Him correctly, because it's only when we see Him correctly that we can see ourselves correctly. So we had to get that squared away, and we're continuing to have to do that every time we look at these identity scriptures. And it's honestly blown me away how much I thought this identity study was going to be about me and kind of some self-affirmations. I know that maybe sounds dumb, but that it's really becoming more and more about focusing on who God is. So we spent that week doing the I Am, and then this week we segued into the Imago Dei. And the Imago Dei means that it means image of God, and it means that you and I and all humankind that God has made are part of the Imago Dei, and we reflect His image. And so that comes in Genesis 1 in the creation story. Now, the creation story follows a particular rhythm, okay? And God calls Himself God, and He'll say, God said, let there be light, and He made the light, and God said that it was good. And God said, let there be birds in the air and fish in the sea, and God made them, and then God said that it was good. Now, the pronoun switches when it gets to making us, when He starts making humans. And it changes in verse 26, chapter 1, verse 26, and I want you to listen. It says, then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And He said, let him have dominion over the earth and the livestock and the creepy things. And then it says in verse 27, so God created man in His own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created them. Okay, humans, you and I, are unique in all creation. Number one, we're the pinnacle of creation. We're the last thing God made. Number two, we are made by a triune God, a God who is in relationship. So the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, He's a relational God, and He made humans relationally. He made them male and female to be in community with one another and also to be in community with Him. And so we have a God who wants a relationship with His people. And then we looked in Psalm 139, 13 and 14, and we learned that those scriptures are about praising God for His creation, giving Him glory because everything He makes is wonderful and deserves to be revered, or He deserves reverence for the things He makes. And so we gave Him praise for creation, for creating me, for creating you, for creating all humankind, because they are the Imago Dei. They are His workmanship, which is what we looked at in Ephesians 2:10, that we are God's workmanship. And that workmanship can also be translated masterpiece, and that word comes from the Greek word poema, and it's where we get the word poem. And so we are a work of art. The great artist, better than Van Gogh, better than Picasso, better than any artist there ever was, way better, exponentially better, is our great artist. And He made each of us, and we are His masterpiece. Every person walking this earth is the Imago Dei, a masterpiece of God. So your children are a masterpiece. Your husband is a masterpiece. The lady in front of you in the grocery store who has 25 things in her cart, even though the sign clearly says 15 for the express line, she's driving you nuts. You can look at her and remember, she's the Imago Dei. She is one of God's masterpieces. And so because of that, we deserve value. We want to be loved. We want to be in relationship. And it helps us to see ourselves and others correctly when we remember that we're the Imago Dei. And so then as we looked at the New Testament scriptures, there's a little bit of a break. And we need to realize that that perfect Imago Dei that God created in the garden was tarnished when sin entered the world. And so that's when God started his great rescue plan, and he sent Jesus to rescue and help redeem and restore complete Imago Dei. And so we want to look more and more like God, and the way that we do that is focusing on him and learning from his son and allowing his spirit to do that transforming work in us. And that was in 2 Corinthians. Let me turn so I get the scripture just right. That was in 2 Corinthians 3:18. And it says that as we behold the glory of the Lord, that we're being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. And that as we behold the Lord, that we are being transformed into his image. That's sanctification, that we're becoming, that we're looking more and more like him. And that will be fully restored in glory when we are in heaven with him. Okay, so that's just a quick walkthrough of what we read this last week and some truths that we need to let saturate our minds. But I wanted to take a couple of minutes and camp out in what I felt like God really wanted me to share with you this week and what's been pivotal for me. I wanted also to do this video. I have no makeup on. I just went to my workout class, but as I tell you the things I'm about to tell you, I wanted to be real with that and show you that the proof is in the pudding. This is me putting feet to what I'm saying and what I'm about to tell you about. So when I was in late high school and college, early college, I struggled with an eating disorder. I hated my body. I never felt like I was thin enough. There were always just all kinds of things I wanted to change about myself. And I echoed what the writer in Isaiah said, where he said, the clay says to the potter, why did you make me like this? It didn't matter what kind of clothes I had on, how well I had done my makeup, what my hair looked like, how thin I was. It didn't matter. I was always dissatisfied with what the potter had made. And so one of my summers during college, I went to Colorado and worked at a camp. And I was out running one morning. And you guys, Colorado, just beautiful. Such a display of God's wonderful creation. And so I was out running and just praising God, just looking at the mountains and the sky and the flowers. It was just amazing. And just saying, God, your creation is beautiful. And it was like he stopped me dead in my tracks. And I had this moment with the Lord I will never forget. And he said, Kate, in the same way that you would never look at the mountains and say to me, you made that mountain wrong. It's too big. Or you painted those flowers the wrong color. Or the sky is too low, it should be taller. Or this is too skinny, it should be wider. You would never say that to me about these beautiful things I made. So why would you say that about yourself? With even more care than I made these things, I made you. And y'all, that rocked me, because it was the first time that I really got a hold of the fact that I am part of God's creation and he only makes wonderful things. I am a masterpiece of what he made, and I give him praise for that. And so this is a truth that I have to constantly remind myself when I look in the mirror and I want to say to the potter, why did you make me like this? And I have to remember that I'm a masterpiece of his creation. And then God sent me this beautiful little reminder in my little girl Lydia to keep hammering this truth home to me. Because when you tell Lydia, when you say to her, Lydia, you're gorgeous, she doesn't roll her eyes and say, oh, you're just saying that. She doesn't go in and try and put on prettier clothes. She doesn't think it's about anything she has on. When you look at Lydia and you say, you're gorgeous, she says, yes, yes I am. Because she knows that that is true. And we teach her to roll up that praise to the Creator, that you are gorgeous because a great God who only makes beautiful things made you. And so God uses my Lydia to remind me. And so when my husband says to me, you are beautiful, that I look at him and I can say, yes, yes I am. Because I have a God who made me and made me that way. And I take no credit for it. It doesn't matter what clothes I have on. It doesn't matter if I have any makeup on. It doesn't matter if my hair is greasy or I'm sweaty. It doesn't matter. Because I am beautiful because of how God made me, not any of those other things. So I want to challenge you with two things. I want to challenge you, one, when you look in the mirror this week, that you would look in and that you would audibly say to God, God, thank you for making me. I praise you for your creation. It is wonderful. You only make wonderful things. I am a masterpiece of what you made, and I get to represent you to the world. God, help me to gaze on you so that your beauty and that glory would just radiate off of me more and more. And two, my second challenge is that when someone tells you that you're pretty or you're beautiful or you're gorgeous, that you would be able to look them in the eye and say, yes, yes I am, because my God only makes gorgeous things. Those are my challenges for you this week. This might have been my most vulnerable video to date. It honestly wasn't easy for me to get in front of the camera and not have any makeup on, but I was reminded by my God, who, when I said to him this morning on my way back from my workout class, I said, who am I to make this video? And he said, you are my masterpiece, and I will be with you. And so I wasn't worried that I didn't have on any makeup, and I really wasn't all that worried about what I would say, because it's not about me. It's about my God, who created me and who gives me the words to say. I hope that encourages you this week, and I just praise my God for all of you beautiful Imago Days out there. Oh God, that we would be transformed from one level of glory to another and represent you well to the world, Lord. Have a great week. I'll see you on the blog.